We are gearing up for planting here on the farm. So let's go over logistics. Logistics of the seed we're planting, how we're gonna plant it, the equipment we're gonna use, who's gonna be doing what all we need to get done. So first up, tillage. The ground needs to be worked. As far as tillage, what we're gonna do, I'm not exactly sure. This is because we are switching things up this year. So typically we've had more no-till ground in the past. This is where you just plant into the bare dirt. You know, you took the corn off and then you plant your beans directly into it, or the other way around. We had a lot of no-till, we had a lot of minimum till, and we had a couple seasons where I just felt like I was really getting burned with the no-till stuff. We were having issues, and so we went more conventional tillage. So mostly everything was ripped last fall with our ripper. So then we have a couple options going into spring. So typically what we would do with our conventional ground is that you'd rip it in the fall, and then you would run a pass with the field cultivator once with just the field cultivator, and then the second time around we would pull our packer behind it. And that's to push the rocks down and make a really smooth planting surface. So we have two field cultivators. The red one's got to be pulled with the 9330. And then the other piece of tillage equipment we have is a Great Plains Turbo Till. So what we normally do is it's two passes in the spring, but it takes a lot of time, and we've talked to a bunch of people that only do one tillage pass in the spring, and they think it's fine. We had ideal conditions last fall, so we are going to test a couple different things. We're going to try running the Turbo Till over the ripped ground. We're going to try just running a field cultivator and the packer once. We're just gonna have to see what works and do a little testing. But I would like to only be doing one pass because that would save us a significant amount of time, labor, fuel, all of the things. So if we could run the Turbo Till, that would be the fastest thing to do. I would only want to do that on the stuff that's going to corn, because for the stuff that's going to beans, we need those rocks pushed down. We pick up as many as we can, but it is just a lot more effective to push the rocks down and then pick them all up. And the Turbo Till flings rocks. This thing just flings them up. So we're gonna just try the Turbo Till, try the field cultivators. We're just gonna see what works. But for the most part, that gets pulled by the 9330. We can pull our smaller blue DMI field cultivator with the 8260R. In theory, we could also pull it with the 8110, but we like to keep low hours on the 8110 just because it's an older tractor, but it's also the least problematic tractor. For planting corn, we use the 8110 and this 1770. This is a 16 row. The rows are 30 inches apart. We have the Yetter closing wheels, love that. We bought this little thingy to try. It's a Martin Till. We liked it, but we didn't like it enough to buy enough for everything. Our starter fertilizer, I will show you that on our way over to show you the bean planter. And this is one of our ripped fields. It looks nice. So our starter fertilizer is in these two tanks right here. If you look and you're like, wow, she has so much room for holding liquid things. We don't ever use these. Back when we did our own spraying, we would hold water in these two, but typically we just store our starter and our 28 in these three small tanks. Okay, I have a little bit more time today to talk about our starter fertilizer. So we put on starter with our seed. Specifically, we are placing it right in that seed trench with the pop-up method. There's also 2x2. There's other ways to get it in there, but we're putting it right there with the seed when we're planting it to get this corn off to a good start. This is our third season using Season Pass Gold Start with Microcarb and Power Pass. Yes, it's taken me this long to remember the full name. One of the things that I really like about this blend is the phosphorus. So this is crucial for corn seed development. Phosphorus is a key component of making ATP. I don't know. It is important early on when those seedlings are establishing their root systems and developing their first leaves. Everyone is here today. Sorry, George just got here. So Season Pass Gold Start is a 80% orthophosphate. This means that it is an immediate form of phosphorus. The
seed can immediately start using it. This is important during cold, when you're in cold and wet soils. And the other 20% is a polyphosphate. It means it requires conversion for the plant to use it. So it takes time and warm temperatures. So we have an 80-20 blend, which is great. Using starter helps with crop emergence. It's leading to a more uniform and early emergence. If you've been following me for a while, you might have watched me do a flag emergence test. And basically you flag all the plants on the day that they emerge. And then at the end of the season, you look at those corn ears. Those plants that are emerging on day 1 are always the ones that are off to that best start. You compare them to like a day 3 or 4 plant that tends to be almost a weed at that point. It just produces a small, tiny ear, if anything.
Okay, and in the shop right now, we have our soybean planter. So this is 32 rows. It is, they're 15 inches apart. So you plant soybeans closer than you do with corn. 1790, can't remember if I said that yet. We pull it with our 8260R. It's almost ready to go. JD has a couple of chains he wants to replace on it. And then I need to get the monitors updated. So I have the monitor in here, but I need to do an update. And once I create my seeding maps, they will go in here. So we have all the information ready to go in the cab. This is our seed corn behind me. Typically we do 4 varieties, but when we were looking at fields and trying to place seed, it just kind of worked out that we decided to do 3 for those logistics. Backing up a little bit, we pretty much always do a rotation of corn and soybeans, and we flop them, so it's always half corn, half soybeans. If you're looking at the market, it might make more sense to just plant corn this year. I'm hoping everyone decides to plant corn this year, and then there will be a little bit more demand for soybeans. We don't do corn on corn. I like having a rotation in there. I know corn on corn works for a lot of people, but I don't know. I hate to say it, but like this is what we've always done, and that's kind of one of my reasons for keeping that 50-50 rotation. But as far as seed goes, my seed dealer always makes me a nice little folder with information on my different varieties. So we are going from, we have a 104-day, 107-day, and an 112, 110, let's see, 110-day. So we've used the 60-41 before. That was our best corn last year. So that one was back, and so we really wanted to get that one. And then I think we also did the 5413. Don't quote me on that. I might look it up. There's simply too many numbers for me to remember, and that's something I just can't. So it ranges from 104 to 110 day. We plant the 110 day first, and then go to the shorter varieties from there, just so that when it's time to harvest, I don't know, that's just what we do. That's why, I don't know, we just do that, okay? We kind of place this corn on fields, so we have an idea of like what fields we want to go to, and where that corn would be most ideal. I won't say it always works out perfectly that way, because sometimes it's like, oh, well, this field is fit and this other field isn't fit, and we might change things up. So when I'm making my seeding recommendations, I need to make them for all the fields with the different varieties on them, just so if we switch directions, we have a variable rate seed map ready to go. And I don't have those created yet. I've never done variable rated seeding, but I believe in it. So I just need to figure out how to do it. And that's the thing that I'm going to work on this week, is getting all of those recommendations drawn up for myself. So let's go over to the soybeans. So we have 4 varieties of soybeans. We always start with the earliest maturity and then go to the latest maturity. It's less on picking the fields that it's going onto. It's more about whatever field you're at first, you do the shortest maturity. So then when we go to harvest, you'll have a field ready, and then they'll continue to get ready for you. I don't know. I'm not explaining this well. As you can see, there's a whole lot more boxes of soybeans than there are corn. That's because you plant soybeans at a higher rate. So, yeah. I don't know if that needs more explanation or not. But the names of our soybean varieties, let's just go through them. We're doing 2760. And these are also all Enlist beans. We were Extend Flex for a handful of years. Is this the first year we're going to? No, this is our second year using Enlist. So, scourge, okay. This is our second year using Enlist soybeans. So we have 2760 E3. I can't move these pages. 2950 E3. 3250 E3. And the last one is, you can do it, 3650 E3. I think we had the 3650s last year. Another thing, I'm not really sure. Can't really remember. So these are our beans. Those are our corn. So how do we get the beans and the corns into the planters? So we have two seed tenders. We have a green seed tender where we typically put the soybeans in, and then we have a red seed tender that we put the corn into. We do that because it's easier to put boxes into the J&M wagon than it is to put the boxes on the red one, and that's just due to the way it is. Hopefully I have some video footage and I can insert it here and you can see why. If you're sticking with me on the math, we'll have two seed tenders. We'll also have our tender. Where is the tender? Oh, it's in the other building. That we will pull our starter fertilizer with. So those need to be on 3 trucks. So we have my truck, my dad's truck, and the red truck. Now, we would like to have a ton truck, but I haven't made a decision on just like selling my truck. I don't know. There's a lot of logistics I need to overanalyze. Corn seed tender is in that red building, and then the other seed tender is in a little white building that's right behind that pond. It's literally only big enough to hold that. It is an old corn crib. So this is our fuel truck. We just stick it in there. Now, nothing that we use in the spring uses DEF. So we don't have to worry about pulling that along. So we just fuel up this, and then we use it to fuel the tractors and such. It would be sick if we had a fuel trailer, but we don't. We're not cool, but that's okay. And then this is the little tender. This is, JD was working on this in the shop last week. Very old, but you can't tell because now it's repainted, all fixed up. We got all new, why do I want to say tubing on this? What's the word? All new, that stuff, you know, I don't know. But yeah, so this is the tender trailer. Just need to pull both of the seed tenders out of storage at some point. We'll hook them up pretty quick. We keep the batteries off of them, so we need to plug the batteries in, and those will be ready to go. And then let's talk about who's gonna be doing what. We're in the office on the couch. So as far as who's gonna be doing what this season, a couple of years ago when we were like 75% no-till, JD and I could get away with doing it ourselves with also some help from my dad, who was in better physical condition a couple of years ago. Dad is unfortunately like ruled out for the season. He's great at helping and calling people, doing stuff like that, but we need to keep him safe. We need to keep him seated. As far as planting, JD typically runs the corn planter and I typically run the soybean planter. The caveat being like, if I break something, I'll go drive whatever's not broken while JD fixes the thing that's broken. But either of us can plant corn or beans. It's just typically that's the way the cookie crumbles. And so then we need to work ground as well, obviously. So we have George, who he can do tillage. He's 86, so he doesn't like to work late into the evenings, which is totally understandable. You know, he has a certain period of time that he feels comfortable operating. I also have Colin. He's a high schooler. Now he plays baseball. So if you've ever seen a baseball schedule, he's mostly at baseball, but there's like a slim, every once in a while I can get him to do something here or there. And then we also have Greg. So Greg started helping a few years ago during harvest season, trucking. He has not done a bunch of tillage before. Last year, towards the end of harvest, I gave him a quick tutorial on how to rip ground, but he'd need to be retrained, which is fine. So we need to get him retrained, and I think he would be great at working ground, and then we'll keep JD and I in the planters. It's amazing when we can be planting both corn and soybeans at the same time, but due to needing to have the ground be worked beforehand, sometimes someone's stuck waiting or something's down and we just switch and focus on one crop or the other. Sometimes it's just, what fields are fit. A lot of it is just, we need to wait and see what the weather's like. Typically, so for insurance purposes, you can start planting corn April 15th, I believe. The first date that you can plant to be like fully insured and you get like paid to replant is April 10th for corn and April 15th for soybeans. However, we prefer to plant our soybeans, like we prioritize the soybeans early in the season. We've just seen that the earlier you plant them, the better. So we might plant soybeans earlier. You could buy insurance to plant earlier and get fully reimbursed if you needed to replant, but you have to buy that insurance like months in advance, and then you can't just like buy it if you decide to plant early. You have to already have it like locked in place. So I said no to that. Final plant date for corn is June 5th, and the final plant date for soybeans is June 20th. So you can plant after those dates. It's just that your coverage is reduced. Other thing as far as logistics goes is I'm gonna be out of town April 18th through the 21st. I always said that like the only reason I would get off a tractor in the spring or fall is like for a wedding or like a big life event that like I couldn't, like if it's a birthday party, you get a birthday every year, But like as far as weddings goes, my friends are only getting married once. My best friend is getting married in Vancouver. I'm one of her bridesmaids, so I need to be there. My thought is like if I'm spending this much time like on the farm doing all this hard work, like at the end of the day, what's it for? I'm hopefully gonna have 50 seasons under my belt. If I'm gone for 3 days during planting season 1 year, it's not gonna be the end of the world, but it makes me I'm very anxious. I'm losing sleep over being gone, but I trust JD to take control, be in charge of things. We got a good team. There are 3 days that like one planter isn't rolling. It's not gonna be the end of the world. I tell myself it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be good. Maybe it'll be raining that week and we couldn't be in the fields anyway. But that's harvest. That's not harvest logistics. That's our planting logistics. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and hopefully you'll be getting some video updates from the tractor cabs soon.